Alright, in today's video, I'm going to talk about one of the most unique lenses that I've ever used on any camera. And I'm talking about this bad boy right here. You can see that. This is the 7 Artisans 50mm f1.4 tilt shift lens. And this is for the Fujifilm X mount. A 50mm is a full frame equivalent to around 75mm, which is not bad. It's a focal length that I've used in the past before, so I have no problems with this focal length. But what makes this lens unique is their tilt shift function. I've never used one before, so I have no idea what I'm doing when I was out and about taking photos. I do like the new challenge that it poses, and that was fun to do, just trying to figure out this lens. So right off the bat, we have this unique looking lens right here. I know it looks intimidating at first, but I promise you, it's like a Rubik's Cube. The way it twists and turns, you'll figure it out. 7 Artisans, like usual, built a solid lens. The build is great, the aperture ring feels great. Although it is clickless, I would prefer it to be clicked, but that's just one of those things. And as well, the manual focusing, it feels good to manual focus it as well. It has a good resistance to it. And then you go into these knobs right here, and this is to change the perspective. I know that architecture photographers like to use tilt shift lens because they use the tilt to adjust the lines to try to keep the line straight when shooting, you know, architecture buildings and that. We also got the shift function where it shifts left and right, and at the end you also have these marks that goes from 0 to 345 degrees. This is to twist and turn to change your focal plane and what you want to be in focus. Usually a focal plane is a horizontal plane. Everything you see here would be in focus, right? But if you twist it 90 degrees or even 180 degrees, your focal plane will look totally different. And you really need to play with this and adjust accordingly to what you like. This is where you can get creative and experiment with your shots. Let's move on to image quality. So if you don't use its tilt or shift function and you use it as a normal lens, I think it's a pretty good lens. With my Pikachu testing shooting this wide open, the lens does have some decent sharpness at f1.4. However, it's just lacking a little bit of contrast, but when you zoom into the center, you see all the details are there. Now, stopping it down to f4 is where you're going to see the sharpness to perform its best. There is also a lot of chromatic aberrations on this lens when shooting wide open. There's lots of green fringing and purple fringing, so if you're not being careful of where you're pointing that thing at, you're going to see a lot of it. And when it comes to bokeh, I think it has some unique characteristics. The bokeh is smooth at times, and then when you put them against the tree leaves, the bokeh balls remind me of those swirly bokeh balls that you've seen from vintage lens. It's very playful and it's quite charming, and they come in at all different sizes, and I think it's quite fun to look at when you have such an interesting and unique looking bokeh. However, when you start to use the tilt shift function on this lens, you're going to be left with some interesting perspectives. You can have one corner of the shot in focus while the rest are out of focus. You can have a sliver of vertical plane in focus, and you can just create like a mix mash of different focal planes. So you can have something in front of you that's in focus and also something near the background in focus as well. So it's kind of weird and trippy to say the least. So I'm I'm having so much fun just examining where the focal plane is and just examining what's in focus. I usually don't like pixel peep, but it's honestly quite fun just looking at the different things that are in focus and what's in focus and what's not in focus. Whereas a shot of this Pikachu normally should have the entire face in focus, but as you can see in this photo where the Pikachu's face is like half in focus and half out of focus, this is due to the tilt shift of this lens, and it's freaking blowing my mind how it's happening. Like honestly, it really hurts my head reviewing these images sometimes because I'm just so used to it being normal. So this just like all this like tilt shift stuff is like throwing me for a loop. And I get like vertical just trying to look at all these things that are in and out of focus. But still, it's a fun lens. And also, you can make anything look miniature, like those photo filters you've seen from other apps before. And I thought it was really cool to do. I could see myself using this from time to time, but not all the time. It does offer a cute little perspective as well. Now, this lens is coming in at $225 US, and I don't think that's a bad price to have something as unique and fun like this lens right here. It comes in several mounts as well. You got the X mount, you also got the Sony E mounts, and as well the Micro Four Thirds Olympus and Panasonic mounts as well. That is it for this review. I had a lot of fun with this lens. I've been shooting with a lot of 7 Artisans lately, and from what I can see is they're really consistent with their image quality. You're going to get you know, good image quality, decent sharpness. You know, you're gonna have lots of character in those lenses, and it's just very, very fun to use when you're, you know, when you want something different. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this tilt shift lens? Is there a particular way you would use one? Because I'm still a noob, and this is my first time using this lens, and I'm still trying to find my groove with it. But yeah, do let me know, like, how do you guys use it, and what do you guys use it for? And if you want more information about this lens, I'll leave the links to this down in the description below. And consider subscribing for more Fujifilm content. And thanks